Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In previous video, I have already shown you how to design this employee user control. So if you have not watched my previous video, then just go to description where I put the link for my previous video, or you can simply do one thing, just click on the suggestion on the right side of the screen. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to backend code for this user control, that is employee, how to backend code for this employee registration, employee details, and delete employee. And I'm also going to show you how to connect login page with the database. In the first video, I've already told you that I'm not connecting the login page with the database for now because we haven't created the table till there. Okay, so let's start with that. Let me close this. And in this, we are working hotel management video. So first thing what we have to do is we have to actually create a database table. Okay, so I'm going to open the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, and here what I have done is I have just selected my database name, that is my hotel. If you are following me, then you know that this is the table which I have created, and what query you have to execute is create table employee. This is showing underlined with the red color because I have already created table. With the same name you cannot create two tables. If I change alphabetically, like I make this one capital E, then this will be okay, this will still, so this is not case sensitive. Okay, so you have to write this one, create table employee eid and integer 1 comma 1, and it's a primary key. It means that 1 comma 1 identity, it means that it will be auto incremented, and eid is a primary key for this table. Ename, that is the employee name, of varchar type not null, mobile big int not null. While you mention big int, you don't have to specify how many characters you want. Okay, so gender varchar 50 not null, email ID varchar 120 not null, username varchar 150 not null, pass varchar 150 not null. Okay, so I hope you have executed this query, and finally our table is now ready. Okay, so move back to our project on which we are working. We are working in hotel management video. Here we are. So first thing what I want is I want to fill this ID with the data. Okay, so what I want is the next ID which is going to be assigned to this registration will be visible over here. So first thing what we have to do is we have to actually change the design name of all these stuff. So first I'm going to change the label name. So let me change the design name for this one. So I'm going to set the name for this label to set and hit enter. Okay, so after this I'm going to change the name of this one. So txt name, this one to txt mobile, this one to txt gender, this one to txt email, this one to txt username, this one to txt password, and finally change this design name of this button as well. So click on this and bdn register. Here it is. So now every design name is now changed. So first thing what I want is when this form load, I want to set the max ID. So let me move back to this one, and here you can see this. Now the previously registered user ID is 4. So next ID will be what? 5. So what I want is I want to fetch this ID and add 1 into that, and after that ID, it means that next ID needs to be 5, and that needs to be visible inside this one, this label. Okay, so how to do that and when to do that? Actually, when this user control loads, then this ID also needs to be loaded. So let me just double click on this empty space, and this will generate a load event, and on that I'm going to code. Just double click on this. You see employee load event is now generated. Here first thing I want is I want to fire a query to select the max EID. So I'm going to fire a query is equal to select, and we have a method max which is used in MySql to get the max of any column. So we have to mention the column in the bracket. So my column name is EID. Let me show you. My column name is EID over here. You can see this EID is the primary key and it's integer type. So I have written EID in the bracket. EID from which table? From employee. Okay. So don't forget to subscribe actually. Let me remove this. First thing what we have to do is we have to make a object of the function class. So function fn is equal to new function, and we have to take a variable of query string type. So I have taken that. So we have to mention query over here. So I have written that. Now our error has been resolved. After this, what I want is I want to actually fire the method. And which method we want? We want get data method, and that is going to return our data set object. So that's why I created this one, function dot get data, and we have to pass the query because it's expecting one argument of string type. So I have passed that. After this, now we have the value inside this one. So what value we have inside this one? So the value is nothing but 4. Here what the query we have fired is select max EID from employee. It means that the max is what? 4. So this one is going to return 4. So let me just show you that. I have added a breakpoint over here, and let me just start this and let's see what happens when this reaches this breakpoint. Okay, so I have started this project. So when I log in, that form gets load. We move directly to that breakpoint, not to the dashboard. Okay, so when I click on this, here we are on the breakpoint. Okay, so let me check what this DS actually contains. So move back over here, just click on this, and here you can see we have 4. So it means that the query is working fine and everything is right. If you are worried about that, how I'm using this get data method, so if you are new, then you have to follow the video from the first, because in the first video, or I guess in the second video, I have explained how to design this method. Actually, I've created a class, function class, and in this I have designed all these methods. I've written all these code, and I've explained how these all work. Okay, so let me close this for now. Okay, so after this, now we have this star. So now what we have to do is we have to actually increase that value by 1, whatever we have inside this data set. So how to do that? First thing, I will check that if this data set is not null. So I'm going to write this if ds dot tables inside the 0 dot rows 0 0, that is 0 through 0th column, and convert that to string is not equal to what? Null. And what we have to do is we have to extract that value to a variable. So I'm going to take int64 width, and I'm going to name this one num. I'm going to take a variable, so I have taken that. And after this, what we have to do is we have to extract that value ds, whatever this data set contains. I have shown you that contains 4 for now. So I want to extract that value and store it inside this variable so that I can increment it by 1. Okay. So let me just, whatever we extract from that is in the string format, so we have to convert that into the integer format. So for that we are going to use the parse method. So int64 dot parse, and inside this we have to write the code to extract the value from that data set. ds dot tables, remove this mouse pointer from here, 0 dot rows 0 0 dot to string. When you write this will convert the value in the num integer type. Okay, now we have the value inside this one. So finally what we have to do is we have to set that value to the label. Which label we have to set? We have to set into this label. The name of this label is label to set. Okay, so we have to mention that label to set dot text is equal to, and first thing what we have to do is we have to increment the value by 1. So variable is num plus 1 And after this, what we have to do is we have to convert this one to string. So as you all know that according to the Bodmer's rule, first the bracket is resolved. So first this bracket will be resolved. If you extract this bracket, simply num plus 1 will be pasted over there. So what will happen? The num contains 4, and after that it will increment by 1, and that will be 5, and after that that 5 will be converted into the string, and that will be set into the label. So let's start this and let's see if that works or not. Let's start this. I have not added any breakpoints, so our project is not going to stop anywhere. So log in, click on employee, and here you can see we have 5 over here. So now everything is working fine. Next step, what I want is, okay, so before moving to the next step, I'm going to do one stuff. I'm going to write this one inside a method. So that doesn't make any difference for us. So I'm going to write a method public void get max id, and I'm going to write this inside this room. Simply do one thing, just cut this and paste it over here. So why I have did this, let me just, okay, sorry. So I'm going to just comment like this, and I'm going to name this so that to keep different like this. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually call this method, and I've written this because whenever I need this max id, I can simply call this method. Okay, so get max id, and I'm going to call this, and when I execute this will work fine. Now log in and employee. Here you can see this is working fine. Okay, so after this what we have to do is we have to code for this register button. So what we have to do is we have to generate a click event for this button. So right click and go to properties. Either you can do this way or just double click on this and this will generate a click event. Okay, just double click on this and this will generate a register button click event. So I'm going to cut this and move over this one here. Okay, so that we keep the code organized. After this, first thing what we have to do is we have to check that none of these text boxes left empty while we try to register the user. It means that all the fields are mandatory, so we have to fill all the fields. Okay, so for that what we have to do is we have to check that if txt name dot text is not equal to what, null, like this. Let me just maximize this full screen. Okay, I hope the code is visible. And second thing what we have to do is we have to check in the same way for the rest of the code. Text boxes txt mobile dot text is not equal to null, and txt general text is not equal to null, and txt email dot text is not equal to null, and txt username dot text not equal to null. 1 2 3 4 5, and finally we need one more, so txt password dot text is not equal to null. And inside this we have to write the code. And what happens if the text box is empty? So we have to show something to the user. So we have to write that code in the else condition. In else condition I'm going to write message box dot show, and inside this I'm going to write fill all fields, and I'm going to name this message box warning, and this message box needs to have some buttons dot OK, and message box icon needs to be something warning. Okay, So let's check if this works or not. Okay, so let me start this. Login. Click on employee. Here you can see this, all the text fields are empty. When I try to click on this, field all fails. If I enter, still it shows this. Okay, so I'm going to do same for everyone. Here you can see this. So I have to select one and register. Here you can see this. When I fill all fields, now it doesn't do anything. No pop-up is there. Why this is? Because in the if condition we haven't written any single line of code. That's why we are going inside the if condition now, and because of lack of code nothing happens. So let me close this, and here what I want is I want to actually, first thing what we have to do is we have to extract the values from all the text boxes. So string, and first is name, so I'm going to extract that. It's equal to txt name dot text, and after this we have, let me check what we have mobile number, so that's in the big N format. So for that we have to convert that into an integer type, so int64, and we have to take a variable name, so mobile txt, this will not work, int64 dot parse, and inside this we have to mention txt mobile dot text like this. And after this we have gender, string gender is equal to txt gender dot text, and after this we have email, email is equal to txt email dot text, and after this we have username is equal to txt username dot text, and after this we have pass, that is password, txt password dot text. Now we have all the values from the text boxes into these variables. So after this what we have to do is we have to actually write the query. So I'm going to write the query. So we have already taken a variable of string type, and that name is query. So in this variable I'm going to write the query. So what query we have to write is insert into table name. My table name is employee. So you can say this employee. Okay, so my table name is employee. If your table name is different, then you have to mention that over there. After this we have to mention the column's name over here. So let me copy the column name from here. So first thing, follow the same order. First we have ename, so we have to ename, mobile, then gender, then email ID, then email ID, username, pass. Make sure you check the spelling of each of these 2 or 3 times, because most of the time many people get stuck over here. So I always used to stuck at some point over here. So you have to check this. So I have copied that and I have pasted over here. Ename, mobile, gender, email ID, username, and pass. Just pause the video and write it. Okay. So after this, what we have to do is we have to write values, and again in the bracket we have to mention that like this. Okay. So first thing we have names. That's a string type. So to mention a string type, we have to write like this: first single quote, then double quote, then 2 plus sign, then double quote, then single quote. And within this we have to mention the variable name, so that is name. And after this we have to mention the mobile, that's an integer type, so comma, just double quote, 2 plus sign, and just double. Do not use a single while you are entering or inserting the data into the database. That's in the integer format. Okay, so mobile. After this we have, again, all the stuff is in string format, so single, double, double, single, and then this 2 plus sign. So we have to mention gender. After this we have email, so single, double, plus, plus, single, and we have to mention email. After this, let me just move a little bit right side. Okay, so after email we have username, so single, double, plus, plus, double, single, username, single, double, plus, plus, double, single, and we have pass. So now the task is done over here, so let me delete this space for now. Okay, so now our query is ready. After this, what we have to do is we have to just fire this query. So what query we have to fire is nothing but function dot set data, because we have to insert this data into the database, so we have to fire this one. Okay, and it's expecting two stuff, that is two string type arguments. First is query and second is a message, whatever you want to show to the user. So I'm going to write the query. First thing I'm going to pass the query, and second I have to write the message inside this one. So I'm going to modify employee registered registered. Okay, that's it. After this, let me start this and let's see if this works or not. So we started this, login, and move back to employee, and I'm going to mention something Gaurav Kumar and something mobile number 555333, like this. Okay, I'm going to select this one, mail, email ID gaurav@gmail.com, username something Gaurav, and password is also Gaurav. Now register, employee registered. Here you can see this. Okay, so what I want is when I click on OK, all the data from these text boxes needs to be cleared. Okay, so that will be look much more nice than now. Okay, so how to do that? For that, we just close this. First thing what we have to do is we are going to create one method for that. So I'm going to write public void clear all. I'm going to name this method clear all, and inside this I'm going to write txt name dot clear. After name we have txt mobile dot clear, and after this we have gender. So selected index is equal to -1. When you write this, the text gets disappeared. So after gender, I guess I have email dot clear, and after this we have what? After email we have something called username dot clear, txt password dot clear. Okay, that's it. So this one is nice. Okay, so our method is ready, and what we have to do is whenever the user try to actually register, after the registration the data needs to be clear, so I have to just call this method over here. So here you can see this, and now see this, and let's check if that data is inserted with the database or not. Let me just execute this. Select to start from employee. Here you can see this 6 Gaurav Kumar, number is over here, mail gaurav@gmail.com, Gaurav, and Gaurav password is this. Okay, so now our insertion registration is working fine. So now what we have to do is we have to check this method, that clear all method is working fine or not. So start this, and I'm going to register anyone. Now login, and here you can see this. Now we have 7 over here, so I'm going to write Kumar and mobile number, something like this. Change this one to mail, kumar@gmail.com, and Kumar, and now register, employee register, and click on OK, and here you can see this, everything is clear now. This one is looking much better. Okay, so but one small stuff is remaining, that here you can see this 7 is still 7, not 8. So how to do that, how to change this stuff? So this is in the real time. I haven't expected this one before. Okay, so but this one is visible. So what we have to do is we have to call this get id method over there. Okay, so first clear this and get max id. Here you can see this. When I call this method, the ID get updated by itself. So start this and let's check that again if that works or not. So employee, I'm going to write ABC, mobile number, something like this, gender, other, email ID abc@gmail.com, ABC, ABC. Now register, click OK. Here you can see this. Now the ID is changed. This one is looking much better. So the coding part of this employee registration is done over here, and register button is working fine. Now what we have to do is we have to just code for this employee details. So what I want is when I open this employee detail, I want to see all the data of all the employees over inside this data grid view. So where we have to actually code. So we have to code on this tab change. Here you can see this. When I click on this, the data needs to be visible over here. Okay. So what we have to do is we have to code on this one. So just close this. And what we have to do is we have to just tab employee select index change. So we have to code on this one. Just select this. Let me just exit the full screen. Click on this. Click on this one. Selected index change. Just double click on this and this will generate a quick event for that. And after this, what we have to do is we have to actually, okay, so our name is tab employee for now. So let me change the name first. Just click on this and I'm going to remove this event which I have generated. So just, and first thing what I have to do is I have to just change the name of this one. So tab control 1. I'm going to change the name to tab employee. This look much better. Just double click on this and this will generate a tab employee select index change. So first thing what I want is I want to write a code. Whenever we click on this tab, I want to fill the data inside this data grid view. Okay, so how to do that? For that, why I'm coding on this tab change? Suppose when someone I can do this when this form load, but that will be not nice because suppose this form load for the only one time when you log in, and after that the user registered a new user inside this one and click on this employee detail, then that data new registered user is not visible over here. For that you have to just close the application and restart that, and after that the data will be visible over here. So that's why we have to code on this select tab change. Just move back over here, and what code we have to write is we have to write if tab employee dot selected index is equal to 1, then we have to write the code. So what is this? Tab selected index is equal to 1. So this is tab 0, this is 1, and this is 2. So that's why we have to code on the 1. Here you can see this. So we have to write the query is equal to, and what we have to do is we have to select all the data of the user. So select star from table name, that is employee, and what we have to do is we have to call the method data set. Yes, first create the data set variable, so it's equal to, and then function dot get data, and we have to call the method. We have to actually pass a query, so query, and finally what we have to do is we have to show that data in the data grid view. So the data grid view name is Guna 2 data grid view 1. Okay, so I guess 1 is the name, so click on this, move back to the top, and Guna data grid view 1 is the name. Okay, so we have to code for the 1. So 1 dot data source is equal to ds dot tables, and then this 0. We have to write this. Okay, so now start this and let's see when we click on that tab all the data is visible or not. Just log in, click on employee, click on this, and here you can see this. Yeah, everything is visible. Whatever user we have inserted, ABC, Kumar, God of Kumar, everything is visible over here. This one is working better and working fine. Okay, The next thing what I want is when I click on this delete employee, also the same data needs to be filled over here. So what we have to do is we have to write the queries in the same way. And second thing what I want is we have to delete the data whatever the ID is over here. So first thing what we have to do is we have to select all the data, and after the deletion operation needs to be performed. So first thing we have to fill the data. So else if tab employee dot selected index is equal to 2, and here you can see this is the tab 2 because 0, 1 and 2, and the 2 I want that this data needs to be filled with the same data so that I can uniquely identify which ID I want to delete over here. Just click on this and we have to just copy this line of code and paste it over here. This will work fine, but here you can see there is a duplicate code. Okay, so we are going to remove that duplicate code so that this one look better. So employee, click on delete. Okay, this one is not working. Okay, sorry. So we haven't changed the data grid view name. We have just copied all the stuff. So what we have to do is we have to change the data grid view name. So the data grid view name is 2. Let me just move back over here, click on this, and here you can see this, the data grid view name is 2. So now start this, and this time this code will work fine. Just log in, code imply, click on this, and here you can see this, now we have the data. The next thing what I want is when I enter 4 and click on this delete button, the data needs to be deleted. Before that, what I want is to remove the duplicate code. Okay. So here what we have to do is we have to remove the duplicate code. So first thing I'm going to cut this stuff and paste this before this line. Okay. After this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write one method for this one. So I'm going to do one stuff, that is I'm going to cut this. I'm going to write one method, public, and this one is going to return something. No, void get employee record. Or let me change this one to set employee, and this is going to accept one argument, that is of data grid view type. So data grid view DGV. I'm going to name this one DGV. Okay, so let me remove this and I'm going to name this one DGV. Okay, so what is this? When you call this method is going to expect one argument type, that is of data grid view. So we have to pass the data grid view name, which data grid view you want to set. So I'm going to call this method set employee over here. Here you can see this, I have cut the code, set employee, and this is going to expect a data grid view. Okay, so inside this, our data grid view name and the tab 1. So this one is tab 1. Inside this is the data grid view. So our name is data grid view 1. So I'm going to mention data grid view 1, this one, and save this, and this will work fine. Now start this, and when I click on tab 1, so if the data is visible, then this code is working fine. So employee, and this one is tab 1, so click on this, yeah, this one is working fine. So in the same way we have to do for the second one. So what we have to do is we have to just remove this, delete this, set employee, and I have to pass tuna data grid view 2 inside this one, and this will work fine. So here you can see this, we have removed at least 4 lines of codes from this one by writing simple one method. Okay, this one is good. I hope you understand. If you don't understand, then just contact me on Instagram. My username for Instagram is btechdays. You can contact me there. I can simply going to reply you for all the text, whatever you do. Okay, so one small stuff is remaining. So let me show you what actually remains. Okay, so I'm logging in. Here you can see this, everything is working fine. So the stuff is remaining is that we have to code for this delete buttons and move back to our design part. Just click on this, and after this what we have to do is we have to actually change the design name of this text box. So I'm going to change this one to txt enter txt id actually, and change this button name to btn delete. Okay, so just double click on this and this will generate a click event. Just double click on this and btn delete click event. Let me cut this and move up to this line. So if that will be there, then it will work fine. You don't need to just cut and paste it over here. So I did this because so that required method needs to be different. Whatever method I write needs to be below this green line. Okay. After this, what we have to do is we have to write the query. So I'm going to write the query delete from employee, that is the table name, will eid, that is the primary key eid, that is the column name. So I have mentioned that eid, and from where we are going to fetch that eid from the text box. Okay, so double quotes, and inside this txt id dot text we need the text. So now we have that, and what we have to do is our query is ready. After this, what we have to do is we have to fire that query. So fn dot set data, and inside this we have to mention the two stuff, that is two argument, that is first is this query, so I have written that, and second is message. Okay, so what message I want to write is record deleted or employee and registered. You can write anything, so I'm going to write record deleted like this. And after this, what I want to do is I want to actually tab employee selected index this dot null. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to just do this tab employee underscore selected index, and we have to write this dot null. This will actually work like a reload to this one. And now before executing this query, I want a user confirmation that are you sure you want to delete this. Okay, so for that what we have to do is, and we have to check one more stuff, that suppose if none of the id is inside the text box. Okay, so suppose user haven't enter anything inside this one and press the delete button, that this will generate an exception and that will crash our application. So we have to prevent that. So if txt id dot text is not equal to null, and inside this we have to mention, we have to check one more stuff, that is what we have to check is actually we have to check for the confirmation. Okay, so if message box dot show are you sure, and this message box name needs to be confirmation, and this message box needs to have some button, OK and cancel, or you can write yes or no. Yes, no, this one is better. Okay, and message box icon needs to be have some like warning. Okay, and after this we have to check that if user click on yes. So dialog result dot yes. Now let me start this and let's see if this message pops up or not. Start this, and now login, click on employee, click on this, and here you can see this, when I click on this empty text box nothing happens because we haven't coded in the else condition to show any message box. So if I write 5, just click on delete and it's asking for confirmation. Suppose the ID is 4, 6, 7, 8, and we don't have the 5 here. Over here, you can see this. We don't have 5. And click on delete and click on yes. Record deleted. Okay, so this one is working in some another way. Okay. So here you can see this. Now this one is working fine. And next thing what I want to do is, here you can see this, we have 8 over here. So what I want is, when I delete number 8, we want to actually show that over there. Okay. Okay, this one is working fine. After this, what I want is, suppose I have written text inside this, and here you can see this, I have selected this, all the stuff, and when I move back to customer details, and when I move back over here, every data is visible. So I don't want that. What I want is, when I move back to the another user control, I want to remove all these text fields. I want to clear all these text fields, all the data from these. So how to do that? For that, we have to code on one stuff. That is nothing but just click on this, click on this, click on this, and we have to just right click on the user control, go to properties, click on events, and click on leave. Whenever we leave this user control, I want to clear all the text fields. Just click on this. I'm going to cut this and paste it below the screen line, and we have to call the method that is nothing but clear all. And when you start this, you will find this will work fine. Login, employee, write something inside this, yeah, like this, and leave this, and when you move back over here, yeah, everything is clear, and this one is working fine. Okay, so that's looking nice, and everything is working fine. After this, what we have to do is, we have still remaining one small stuff, that is nothing but we have to connect our login page with the database. Okay, so let me move back to the login page. So where is our login page? Okay, so I'm going to open the login page. So my login page is form 1. Just double click on this and we are over here. So first thing what I have to do is I have to remove this hard-coded text from here. So I'm going to delete this, and the same way I'm going to delete this one too, if you have done this. Okay, after this we have to just move back to the click event for this button. So just double click on this and we are here. So first thing what we have to do is we have to extract that value, username and password, from the database. As I have already shown you, inside this employee table we have the 2 column, that is username and password. We need these 2 data from the database. Okay, not everything. Okay, so I'm going to fetch only these 2 columns from this table. Okay, so for that I'm going to write a query. So move back over here. So I'm going to clear this few stuff. So before that I'm going to write the method, and before writing query I have to create a object of the function class. So function fn is equal to new function, and I'm going to write take a variable. So query, you can name anything over here. So I'm going to write query. So query, and I'm going to write one query over here. So which query I wanted, select, and which 2 columns I need is username and password. So let me copy the column name over here. So these 2 columns I need, column name, username and password. So move back over here, just paste it, username and pass, from which table. So our table name is employee, where username is equal to, and this will be in the string format. So that's why, okay, so let me make a space, single and double quotes. Let me zoom in a little bit, and here txt username dot text. So this is let me open this text field name is username, so txt username, and this one is txt password. Here you can see this. Okay, so we have to mention txt username, and we have to check for another thing, and pass column is equal to double quotes plus double and single txt password, like this. Okay, so now our query is ready. Whenever this query fires, if that data matches, it means that username and password matches, then only it will return username and password. Okay, so hit enter, and after this we have to just call this data set ts is equal to function dot get data. I have to pass the query, and this is going to return the data. So when this query is going to return the data, only when this username and password matches. Whatever we write inside the username and password, and we have mentioned and over here, you can see this. Suppose user enters Saurabh over here or ABC, and here it enters BCA, then that doesn't fit or that doesn't match in the database. So this data set will be empty. Simply means that if this data set is empty, then username or password is wrong. Okay. So what we have to do is we have to actually do that. Okay, so let me first, what we have to do is now we have to check only for this if ds is empty or not. So if this ds is not empty, then we want to move to the dashboard. So here we have to check ds dot tables 0 dot rows dot count is not equal to 0. It means that if this row inside that ts is not equal to 0, it means that it has some value, and it can only have some value when user enter valid username or password. Okay, so this one is showing error because we have used two variables with the name ds over here and ds over, so I'm going to change this one to dash, change this one to dash 2. Okay, after this what I want to do is I want to make this I'm going to leave this one over here like this, and this one is fine, and this one is perfectly fine. Okay, so everything is fine now. Yeah, everything is fine. Here you can see this. Now I'm going to start this. Let me show you in the database. So we have, okay, so let me move back to the database for now and just start this. And here you can see this. We have ABC. We can log in with ABC. We can log in with Kumar, Gaurav, and Saurabh. If I mention ABC and for the password I use Kumar, then this will not fit. Let me try that. I'm going to use username ABC and I'm going to use password Kumar. And when I try to log in, wrong username and password. Okay, so when I write ABC, this with the help of this, here you can see this, we have ABC and ABC is a valid username and password. We can log in with that. So click on this. Okay, so something went wrong. ABC. ABC. Okay, something wrong. Okay, ABC and ABC, yeah, that's right here. Okay, let me check what error I have did. Not equal to 0, then this one should be this dot hide and dash dot show. Yeah, everything is fine. Username, pass from employee. Let me check that. Okay. Okay, let me check and pass. Everything is fine. Data set. I'm going to pass the query. Let me start this and try once again. Okay. The error is because here you can see this txt username.text. When you write this, the text from that will be fetched. Here you can see this txt password. This is fetching Guna2 like this. This one will be send. Okay, so what we have to do is we have missed actually text over here. So now I have written this. And now let me start this and let's try once again. I'm going to mention ABC and Kumar first for first and try to log in. Wrong username or password, and I'm trying to ABC and ABC. Click on login, and here we are to the dashboard. Okay, so now everything is working fine. I hope you enjoyed coding with me. So please subscribe and hit the bell icon before you start coding another program. Okay, so that's it for this video, guy. Our project is complete. So just stay tuned with our next project. I will be right back soon. So thanks for watching and please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Please share.